I can't do it from the computer.
Really?
I can't go live together, but maybe that's just the host. Maybe the guest can.
But you have WhatsApp on your computer?
I do.
Uh-huh.
But that's something else. I also emailed you the link, but it's not
Oh.
about that. Go live together on YouTube only works through the app right now. Like they haven't added it to be able to do it on the computer.
Okay.
So as a host, I can only do that from my phone. And I would be surprised, it's possible, but I would be surprised if as the guest, you'd be able to do it on the computer when I can't do it as the host. Do you
Okay.
follow?
I comprehend, senor.
Okay.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. We're a minute in. All right. So, chapter 2. So, in the previous parak, in Nice Aleph, the Alter have explained. Okay, I'm going a little more casual. I'm going open shirt sitter style. In the previous chapter, the Alter have explained how we can become recipients for Hashem's light through subduing and transforming the Sitra Achra. That's how we can be Kalim for the Eir Gvul, the Arin Saif, the infinite light of Hashem. We hold back and subdue and transform the Sitra Achra. And now he asks about this whole general concept. So v'hinei tzarich lahavin hatam. So we need to understand what's the reason for all this. Lama istali kikara dekutra brichu. Why does the glory of Hashem rise up and rest upon the world? Dafka bima the iskafia sitra achra. Why does that happen specifically when we subdue this sitra achra? So I already said a bracha before. So
Okay. All right.
it's important to stay hydrated when you're learning this. All right. So wait, do you have water? There we go. And you also said a bracha before, right? Okay.
No, I just said wrong.
Oh, you just said no. I didn't hear. I would have said amen. Okay. Sitra Achra is of no significance to Hashem throughout the whole, evolution of worlds, of spiritual worlds. David doesn't care. Like the pasuk in Mishlei 30:28 says, "Semamis biyadayim tisapes." You can catch the spider in your hand. The spider represents klipa, especially because of its exoskeleton, as well as because it has 8 legs and 8 somehow also represents the klipa. I don't remember exactly right now. But anyway, the point is that you can catch a spider in your hand, meaning it's not a strong being. Even though, as the pasuk then continues, it is found in royal palaces, meaning it's in Hashem's chain of worlds. Klipa is found in Seder Shtalshalos, but it's of bare significance. It's easy. It's not. It's no real threat. So if so, why does subduing it have such a strong effect, where it's bedavka through this that it causes Hashem's glory to shine upon this world? If it's insignificant and it doesn't take up any place, it was never a true concealment to Hashem to begin with. Why does subduing it mean anything to him? So we'll understand this. Yuvan bahaktim shedish inyan mitzvah. We'll understand this by first explaining and understanding the source of mitzvah saseh and mitzvah loisaseh. So basically, this will be this chapter. This is what we'll be talking about, which will also set up the background for the first to answer those original questions in the Mimer. So Kihini Yadua Mashakasav Tikkunei Zohar. It's known that what it says in Tikkunei Zohar B'Akdama Daf Dalid in the introduction of page 4, Seif Amud Beis 4b, and Daf Hey Amud Aleph 5a. Al pasuk on the pasuk in Shemais chapter 3, pasuk 15. Zeh Shemi Li'olam v'Zeh Zichri. This is my name forever, and this is my remembrance throughout all generations. Shemi im Yud Kei Vav Kei. The numerical value of the Hebrew word for Shemi, together with the letters of Yud and Hey, are Shasa, Loisasa. Right? Shin is 300, Mem is 40, Yud is 50, so that's Shemi, 350, plus Yud and Hey, which equals 15, is 365, which is the number of Loisasa mitzvahs. Vav Hey im Zichri, 5 and 6, which is 11, plus Zichri, which is Zayin is 7, 7, 11, that's 18. Chav is 20, says 38. Reish is 200, so 238, and Yud is 10 plus 238 is 248, which is, you guessed it, Ramach mitzvahs asay, 200 mitzvahs of asay. So Shemi with Yud Hey is Shasalois asay, and Vav Hey with Zichri is Ramach mitzvah asay. Ehina Yud Hey lamayla b'chinas Vav Hey. Now the level of Yud Hey is higher than the level of Vav and Hey. Shaharei Yud Hey hu Shem b'fnei atzmai, as we see that Yud and Hey is the name of Hashem on its own. Ka, right? That's its own name. Halu Ka. Vav and Hey is not a name of Hashem. Vav Hey is not a name of Hashem. So Chachma Bina, that Yud Hey, Chachma Bina, is Hashem's revelation to Himself. So it itself has its own name. The level of Vav Hey is Ze'er and Malchus. It's the emotions, power of action, which is how He relates, reveals to the created beings. But it's lower. It's not its own name. Gam Pedish Yehesh Rabba. Another place we see this is an explanation of when we say in Kaddish Yehesh Rabba, may it be, may it happen that Shemay, his name Rabba, which is great, Mevarich, be blessed the Olam forever, Ula Olmeil Maya, and to all eternity. So Yesh Mefarshim are those that explain, as you could see in the Tur Orech Chaim, chapter 56, Shem Yud Hey Rabba, when Shemay, the word Shemay, Yamin Yehei Shmei Rabba, is the words Shem Yud Hey. Shem Yud Hey Rabba. Meaning the name of Hashem is Rabba is great. Commotion is bar, and we see explained in Parshas Nitzavim, Gan King Inyan Hanistaris Lashem Elikenu. The hidden aspects are for Hashem, our God. Tvarim, Perek 29, Pasuk 28, refers to Yud K, as the Tikkun says at the beginning of Tikkun 22. But Haniglas, the pasuk continues in the reveal. That's Vav Hey Niglas Lanu Ulvanenu. So basically, the pasuk reads in full. Excuse me. Hanistarash Hashem Likenu Haniglas Lanu Ulvanenu Ad Olam La'ases says Kol Divrei Torah Zeis. The hidden things are for Hashem, our God, but the real things are for us and our children forever to fulfill all the words of this Torah. The simple meaning, as explained by Rashi, is that the hidden things are the thoughts of other people, which only Hashem knows. Hashem is saying that He will not punish the community for the sinful thoughts of idol worship of individuals, since the community isn't aware of them, and we're unable to stop them. However, if the individuals worship idols in public, chas v'shalom, then Hashem will punish the community for not stopping them, since they were aware of it and should have stopped them. This is because the Jewish people accepted responsibility for each other to keep the Torah and mitzvahs. So you see Yud Hey and Vav Hey, right? So we see Yud Hey is higher and hidden, Vav Hey is revealed to us, that's diminished. Chen Shemi, and so too we say, when we say Shemi, which is associated with Yud and Hey, L'mayl B'chinas Zichri. Kamuvim Mashakazu B'Gemara Sefer Gimel of Psachim. It's higher than Zichri, as we learn about Pesach on Daf 50a. So what does it say over there? Psachim, he basically brings from the Koren Steinsaltz edition, a translation of that Gemara. The Gemara quotes the pasuk from Zechariah 14:9, that on that day Hashem shall be one, Ushma Echad, right? V'hay Hashem l'melech kol haaretz b'imah yihya. On that day Hashem Echad. So the Gemara asks, what's the meaning of the word one in this context? Is that to say that now His name is not one? Meaning on that day Hashem Ushma Echad, His name will be one, but now He's not? Rav Nachman Yitzchak says, the world to come is not like this world, my friends. In this world, Hashem's name that is written with the letters Yud and Hey is read as, how do we say? We say it similar to Adnai, right? Which begins with the letters Aleph and Dalet. Hashem's name is not pronounced in the same way as it is written. Now, I said it like Adnai because I don't actually want to say the name out of respect for Hashem's name. But those who are familiar can look it up. If you really need, you can call me privately and I'll tell you how to pronounce it in the context of a bracha. But yeah, so we say we don't pronounce it though with the letters that are written on the page. We say it with the Aleph Daled and then Nun and Yud. Hashem's name is not pronounced the same way as it is written. However, in the world to come, it will all be one, as Hashem's name will both be read with the letters Yud and Hey, and written with the letters Yud and Hey. Pronounce it the way it's written. So Rava thought to then expound upon the correct punctuation and enunciation of the name of Hashem during his public lecture before one of the festivals, before Yom Tovim, one of the big rabbi speeches. So he's like, okay, let me tell you how it's said. A certain old man said to him, Zeh Shemi Li Olam, the word forever is written in the pasuk. Zeh Shemi Li Olam, this is my name, Li Olam, forever. That's the verse from Shemais, chapter 3, pasuk 15. And it says li'olam without the letter vav, such that it could be read. You could read it in a different way of le'alem, to conceal, meaning the name should be concealed. So basically, this old man was telling Rava, whoa, 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 don't blow the whistle. You should not tell us. Don't teach people how it's pronounced. People are not supposed to know how the name of Havaya is pronounced right now. It's not today's service. So Rabbi Avina raised the contradiction. Wait a second, but it says, so fine, it says in the pasuk, Zeh Shemi Li Olam, this is my name forever, implying a requirement to conceal the name of Hashem. And the very next pasuk, it says, Bezeh Zichri L'dar Vadar, L'dar Dar. And this is my memorial until all generations. So that indicates the name of Hashem is to be publicized and remembered by all. So what's going on? But rather, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, my name is not read as I am written. I am written with the letters Yud and Hey, and I'm read with the letters of Aleph and Dalet. So we see from the Gemara that Shemi goes on the level of the name of Hashem's name Havaya, as it is written, which cannot be pronounced nowadays. Whereas Zichri is the part that's supposed to be remembered and publicized throughout all days. That's the lower level, the level of Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud, which may be pronounced in prayer or reciting blessings, right? Since Shemi is associated with the letters Yud and Hey, whereas Zichri, which is associated with Vav and Hey, that shows again that Yud and Hey is higher than Vav and Hey, just like the name Havaya is higher than the name Aleph, Daled, Nun, and Yud. So the Imkain, if so,
how does he go with Bob and Hay? I don't get that.
Zichri, okay, we explained before how Zichri plus Vav and Hey, if you do the gematria, is the Shasa, like, is the Ramach Mitzvah Saseh, which you said before, Vav and Hey, Bichlal, that was the previous chapter about how the Vav Hey is with the Mitzvah Saseh, and the Yud and Hey is Mitzvah Saseh. Yeah, okay. So the Imkain, if Mitzvah Saseh are associated with the name Yud and Hey, as explained above, Haloi Saseh Agam Gvoy Mitzvah Saseh, so that means, so if Loi Saseh are higher than Mitzvah Saseh, so sorry. No, so if so, then we see that lois haseh mitzvahs are higher than mitzvahs haseh. Right? That's basically what it seems to be saying. Which is why lochein of our mitzvahs haseh v'shav. If someone transgresses a mitzvah haseh and then does tshuva, it comes back. Loy zaz misham ad shamaychlin loy. He does not move from there before he is forgiven. Meaning, he's immediately forgiven. It happens right away. In the next step he takes, he's forgiven. Masha Ain't says lois haseh tshuva toila. If someone transgresses a lois haseh, it says tshuva has a tentative effect, and Yom Kippur brings complete atonement. It says that in Kiddushin 39b. So v'hainu lefish imshachim b'chinas yud hey. The reason why mitzvahs lois haseh are less easily forgiven is because mitzvahs lois haseh come from the level of yud and hey, which is higher. Therefore, when we transgress them, it causes greater damage, causes greater harm, which is more difficult to rectify. This comes across as a surprise. So the function of mitzvah asay is the revelation and drawing down of Hashem's light. Sharei mitzvah asay in yanam gili v'amshachas elikus ayidei maisezu. The Ramach, the kudenheim Ramach evarim the Malka. For the function of mitzvah asay is the revelation and drawing down of Hashem's light through each mitzvah action. This is because the 248 asay mitzvahs are the 248 limbs of the king, as it said. A limb of the body, so to explain this, he explains, a limb of the body receives the life force of the soul. And in effect, it draws down that life force into itself. And able to express itself that way. And then through that, the soul is able to express itself in the world. So too, the mitzvahs receive the light of Hashem and draw down that light into themselves and throughout them and through them, through those mitzvahs, into the world. That conduit, so to speak. You can do it, right? Same way. Whereas in a mitzvah, there's no action, there's nothing done. Literally quite the opposite. There's a lack of action. So rather, it's just you're stopping yourself from transgressing. So in Cain, so then how can a lois aseh be greater than an actual aseh when you've actually done something which causes revelation in this world? How is it greater? So rather, the idea is on the contrary, the adrabe, he hanisenes. The way we fulfill the mitzvahs, like I said, is it itself is what gives us this. It itself teaches its true value. It gives itself away. Because the source of Alois Haseh is from a very high place. Bechinas Yud as we explained, comes from Yud Hey, right? Al Kate Ein Lehen Kalim Lamata. So because it's so high, that's why there are no vessels that can contain it. There are no actions which can contain that light and be a conduit for such a high light. Rak al Yudei Shave Va'al. Rather, the only way to connect to this light is to sit and don't do. Just don't do the transgression. Because there's no way to encapsulate this light, to capture it. You can't capture this lightning in a bottle. It's too high, it's too powerful. So the only way to connect to it is by don't move. Don't move. And it'll connect to you. But if you move and you try to do, it's too high. What's up, Tatty?
Well, I don't know what. Mommy? Yeah, no, okay. I thought mommy was talking. Okay, go
Okay, so v'zehu inyan, and this is the concept. What it says in the pasuk, "Koyamar Hashem zacharti loch lechtech achrei b'midbar be'eretz lo zerua." In Jeremiah was a bullfrog. At Yirmiyah, in Yirmiyah, Bays, it says that Hashem says, "I remember how you, the Jewish people, went after me in the desert in a land not planted." So Perish, what does it mean, not planted? Shehazeriya hi bechinas loy. The planting and production is in a manner of not or no. Hainu b'kiyum bechinas loy, meaning the adherence to this idea of saying no to our natural desires. It's very important to learn how to say no. The hainu shemiras mitzvahs loisaseh, which means to adhere to the mitzvah of a loisaseh. And by doing this, by adhering to the proper no, by fulfilling, by learning how to say no properly, and saying no to Sitra Achra, and no to the other side, that itself plants and produces light from Hashem. As it says in Yirmiyah 2:6, so 4 psukim later, it says this level where no Adam has dwelt, no man has dwelt. Now, this pasuk basically is in continuation to the pasuk before about the Jewish people traveling in the desert when they left Mitzrayim. It describes that the desert is a place that no man can dwell, and yet Hashem miraculously took care of the entire nation there for 40 years. Now, we said that the deeper meaning of the idea of desert is a place of planting the light created by saying no to our animal desires. Based on this, the description of the desert is a place where no man can dwell, is describing the greatness of adhering to mitzvahs lo yisaseh. So there's two possibilities for why a place cannot be inhabited by man. Aleph, it's too harsh. It's too lowly for people to live there comfortably, like a slum that is no place for a decent human to live. And Bays, it's too lofty and exalted for a regular person to live, like the palace of the king. It's not meant for a regular dude to live. Now, the light produced from saying no to our animal soul's desires is from a level where no man can live, meaning it's from such a high, lofty level that no regular person can comprehend. In addition, the idea of Adam in our pasuk refers not only to the human person, but also to Hashem's emotions, as expressed in Zer Anpin of Atzilus, which is referred to as Adam on high. It's called man since it has 248 aspects, corresponding to the 248 body parts of a human, especially a human man. Thus, the idea of this light being from a level where no Adam can live means that it's even higher than spiritual source of mortal man. It is even higher than the level of Zer Anpin, the man on high. So now back to the Maimer, Haino, meaning which means L'mayla B'chinas Mitzvah Saseh. It's higher than the level of Mitzvah Saseh, Shem B'chinas Adam, which is the spiritual level of Adam, which is Zer Anpin, which corresponds to the Mitzvah Saseh that are compared to that Amachiv Varna de Malka, 248 limbs of the king. Right? So when we say king, we're talking about this level of Zer Anpin, which is talking about the 248 Mitzvah Saseh. So now to better understand the difference between what's drawing down Mitzvah Saseh and Lois Saseh, the Alter Rebbe launches into an explanation regarding Mitzvah Saseh. So Yuvan Zeh, Mitzvah Saseh. So first, let's understand let's go back and understand what is a Mitzvah Saseh. What are these positive commandments? Positive mitzvahs, positive connections, positive ayatron, or what's it called? Shehem Ramachiv Varim de Malka. They are the 248 limbs of the king. They are the 365 arteries Shebahem Hadam that contain blood, that carry the blood, which is explained elsewhere. So what's the meaning of limbs? Like we explained earlier that the limb is a proper recipient for the life of the soul which is clothed in it. The power of intellect that goes from the brain is enclosed in the head. And the power of action is in the hands. Actually, it does, right? As we said in Sefer Shalbeinanim, meaning Tanya, Chelik Aleph, Perak Nun Aleph, meaning Likutei Amarim, chapter 51. So the way that the life which is clothed in the limbs, who rak bechinas gili v'ha'arim nefesh, is only revelation and shine from the soul. It's an offshoot from an expression of the soul. The soul itself, as opposed to the soul itself, it's impossible that it's split into 248 parts, separate limbs, right? So then how does it distribute into the 248 limbs? So I'll explain there that the revelation from the soul shines to. I realized, Tatty, if you want to get a Likutei Torah and look inside, you can, or I can send you the PDF, and you can follow along on your computer also. But whatever you want. Okay, so it's also explained that the revelation of the soul shines to and is clothed in the brain. And a shine goes forth from the brain to all the other limbs, and each limb receives the power and life which is proper for it based on its God-given composition. And you can go see in Tanya more how this works. It's explained more in Parak Aleph. But Amnam, even though the life from the soul is distributed throughout the body, it's understood that that it's still united and unified with the soul itself. It's still its shine, and they are still one, literally. The ray from the sun is not separated from the sun. It's still a part of the sun. Tati, suddenly went dark. You still there? Tati? Tati? Hello? Uh-oh. Oh, okay, you're back. You're back. Okay. Went away there a second. So, however, even though the life from the soul, which is distributed throughout the body, is certainly, it goes throughout, but it's still connected, like we said, like the sun, like the sun's rays. So much so that the soul itself is what understands using the intellect, which is clothed in the brain. And the soul itself is speaking using the power of speech, which is clothed in the mouth. And the soul itself is doing, our hands aren't working on their own. It's not like we send them a text saying, hey, can you pick up that glass of water for me? And it goes and does it. It's a direct command and control and utilization of these limbs. So and therefore, then when a soul leaves a body, chas v'shalom, all the powers that the body had to move the limbs now leave, and the body can move. It's always been an extension of the soul itself. It never became independent. Because otherwise, even if the soul left the body could still walk around zombie style, but it doesn't happen that way. I didn't move on. So it's understood that essentially the powers in life, which is in the 248 limbs, unite with the soul, literally. And yet with all this, the soul power stays and is still expressed in a unique way, in a unique recipient. That each body part is different. Each one is on their own, and shines and expresses the soul in its unique way. So we can understand this now, what it means, these 248 limbs of the king. Like it says in the Zayar, Hashem and his life force are one. Hashem and his kalim of the spheres are one. Kunazar has 3b. His life force, that life force means the light and life which emanates from Hashem's infinity to be clothed in the spheres, for example, in the attribute of chesed. The chesed is compared to an arm. This is a limb that, since it's a limb, it's a proper recipient to the simple light and life which emanates from Hashem's infinity. As it says in Zayar, this light is not defined by or comprised of any of these attributes at all. The light itself isn't then defined by the attributes or the limb that it's shining into. But it goes through, it channels through the sphere like a limb, and then it's given character, it's given flavor. So if so, the Hashem's life force is that he shines uniform and simple, as the source is that he and his life force are one. The Hashem's life is unified with its source, Hashem's infinity. Kanal, and as we explained earlier, we explained in the metaphor the unity between the life of a given limb with its source, the essence of the soul itself, that when the soul leaves it, it's gone. And so too, when it says Hashem and his kalim, his spheres are one. That Hashem, and for example, this attribute of chesed and kindness, miyuchadim betachlis, are completely united with him, as explained elsewhere. So the elsewhere we could see in Tanya Igeres Kodesh chapter 20, the Alter Rebbe elaborates on this concept. To quote one point of that explanation, it is through the kalim, the vessels of the spheres, that Hashem's creative power is revealed. Since the kalim have a definition, a limit as it were, they are the source of the limitations of the created beings. Therefore, they serve as the conduit for Hashem's creative power to be expressed in the actual creation of finite beings. Since the power of creation is from Hashem's essence, and creation takes place through the kalim of the spheres, these kalim have a direct connection to Hashem's very essence and being. This explanation is different from the explanation given soon in the Mimer. The unity of the kalim of the spheres with Hashem's essence is through the light of Hashem that becomes clothed in them. So now the Alter Rebbe then goes back to explain why the 248 mitzvahs are compared to the 248 limbs of the king. So now this revelation, this download, that Hashem's infinite light, gets enclosed in the 248 limbs of the king. By way of analogy, meaning what we're really talking about is not physical limbs, but the conduits and the kalim of spheres, all the way to the point that that Hashem and his life force and his limbs and his kalim and are all one. This all happens, this is fulfilled through the fulfillment of the 248 positive commandments. Like in the body, there's three parts: the essence of the soul, the powers of the soul, which extend in the soul, and then the body itself. So there's Hashem, there's Ihu, Hashem himself, Chayuhi, V'Gemur Echad. There's the life force, which is also called his light, the shine of that light. And then there's the kalim, which are the spirits of Atzilus. So since they're all connected, they never leave. So the kalim themselves are united with Hashem's essence. So when we fulfill mitzvahs, say we're bringing down Hashem's light into the kalim, uniting them with the actual essence of Hashem. So when you go and give tzedakah to a chesed, like Karen Yehuda Leib or any number of chasadim, beautiful tzedakahs, doing very good things, kind things, it's called, which is chesed in general, is called the right arm, as it were. When you have to have gvura, like go to the bezdin and whatnot, and listen to halacha, what it says, and how to deal with money, that happens through gvura, which is the left arm, as it were. And so too, when we inspire ourselves, the awakening from below, falling asleep, but we gird our loins and whatever it's called, and wake ourselves above, inspire ourselves, like someone who he conquers his inclination, punches that thing right in the face. This is also Gvura, of course. As it says in Pirkei Avos, Ezehu Gibar, who's strong, not the Hulk, rather Kovish Yitzray. Which, by the way, as but whatever, to go off on a little thing, I always found that very apropos that they created a character called the Hulk, a guy who's the strongest, but it's all about him trying to control his midas, because otherwise he gets out of hand. Meaning, what's true strength is not the guy who just lets himself go crazy and angry and smashes everything to bits. True strength is koyevish yitzrei, iskafia, holding himself back, controlling those emotions. That's real strength. So now we see the advantage of studying Torah, which is in a way above all other, has an advantage and a superior quality over any other mitzvah. Because there are two levels in the idea of the 248 limbs, right? The outer limbs, the inner internal organs. A physical human being. He's got internal organs. Hopefully, ideally. Unless he's, found his way to some back alley and, of a dark place. And the fact is, the inner organs, that life force that's in there, and even the intellect and emotion that is connected to those inner organs, are clothed more than the external limbs. And that's why most of the internal organs, they get badly damaged through even the tiniest of a puncture. Amashahu. Even something so small can damage them. As opposed to the outer limbs, which they can be bumped around, they can be cut, they can be sliced. An internal organ, one little nick, and it's all over. Get Nicholas out of here. Excuse me. And so, of course, the analogy is understood. The Abishah doesn't have no body and not the image of a body. But he calls that dibra Torah kol shem bnei adam. As it says, the Torah speaks in the language of humankind. So there's also internal and external levels in what we're talking about. Derech klal. So generally speaking, the mitzvah of learning Torah, toiling in Torah, that's like the internal organs. It's much more sensitive. Because Torah emanates from Hashem's level of chachma, so that's internal. And what it writes about, and about wisdom, it writes in Kehelas, chapter 8, Pasuk Aleph, Pasuk 1, Chachmas Adam Ta'ir Panav, that the intellect of a person lights up his face. Okay, this is similar, not just the light of the screen of your computer, but also just the learning Torah lights up your face. This is similar to what the Gemara says in the Talmud Yerushalmi, Shabbos Perek Ches Halacha Aleph, chapter 8, Halacha 1, that Sohavu Panav Shel Rabbi Abahu. Rabbi Abahu's face shone because that he found a new Tosefta, a new teaching of earlier sages. He came across, he discovered it. Intellectual stimulation, the face shines.
Okay, I'm back on.
Okay, so Havonu Shabbos, everybody. Let's remember that when we do Torah mitzvahs, we're right. What's the takeaway? The ha'ara, Tati. What do you? What's the meditation?
What's the takeaway? Takeaway is we should do Torah and mitzvahs.
We should do Torah mitzvahs.
We should know that they're both negative and positive, and they're more negative than positive because it's harder to do. And they're more negative than positive because it's harder to do.
Tati, I think you should turn off the video. You're hearing yourself, and it's confusing. Just turn off. Wait, no, that's not what I meant. Okay. I meant turn off the one on your computer so that you could still be on this call. All right. Whatever. All right, good jobs, everybody. Let's do Torah mitzvahs like my father said, and we'll bring Shem Havaya down. That's how we do it. We bring Shem Havaya, a revelation of Havaya in this world, the infinite into the finite, make the impossible possible.